Hey YouTube, this is Jamie with my second part of the DC Cybernetic Summer Review. Um, Please like, comment, and subscribe. Well, you don't have to subscribe at this point. Wait till my third video to the subscribe. Or subscribe now. Maybe I'll have some more. Well, anyway, here is part two of the video. I hope you enjoy. And the next story is a Flash story, and it is drawn by David LaFuente, written by Joshua Williams, colored by Luis Guerrero, and lettered by Steve Wands. This story takes place in the 1 minute that all the Flashes from the multiverse get together to hang out and witness the race between two Flashes. This year it's Earth Prime Flash, Barry Allen, and Red Mercury, the robot Flash. And I think this was a fun story as we see the Flashes run through some obstacles, cardboard cutouts of the Rogues, Captain Cold, Mirror Master, and they run through scary looking lava trap with hands coming out of it. And the one thing that I thought was really cool is they used that little arm whirl to fly, and that looked great. And it is great action. Red Mercury is a little too competitive, but at the end he realizes what it was all about, and it's a heartwarming story. Something you can expect from Flash, and I give this a 6.5 out of 10. And halfway done with the story. Our next story takes place in the Silver Age. It's a Silver Age story, and it is called Summer Lovin'. It is written by Liz Erickson, drawn by Nick Villela, colored by Romulo Fajardo Jr., and lettered by Ferran Delgado. The story features the Legion of Superheroes, as well as a young Superman who's called Superboy. And in this story, the Legion are fighting an alien enemy that gets away and hides. And Superman and the Legion decide they're going to hunt him down and but to keep his life going normally, he actually activates one of his mini robots, and apparently he has those. Yes, he does, and he activates them to just act normal as Clark Kent. He uh, the robot just wanders around Metropolis and actually meets a girl named May. They end up going out to the drive-through, and they have a moment. And The Legion and Superman, after May goes home, the Legion and Superboy, he's Superboy, not Superman. Um, they just happened to find out that the alien was hiding out in um, the Superboy robot, and he deactivates it and goes back to normal. And the it's a little heartbreaking for May because Clark doesn't actually remember the moment they shared. So back when they're back in school, he kind of just blows her off. I don't know. It's a really good story. It's a Silver Age throwback. It reminds me of the old Silver Age cartoons I used to watch, and I really enjoyed this. And the art really contributed to the mood and everything. I really love this story. I give this an 8 out of 10. And okay, so the next story is called Out There, and it features characters called Apollo and Midnighter. And the story is written by Steve Orlando. It's penciled by Paul Pelletier, inked by Norm Rabmont, and colored by Adriano Lucas, and lettered by Rob Lay. Has a lot of different talents on the thing, each doing separate things: inking, lettering, um, coloring, and drawing, penciling. Well, anyway, Apollo and Midnighter are actually from a different comic publication, I believe, Wildstorm. It folded into the DC universe back during New 52. And Apollo is more like Superman, and Midnighter is more like Batman. They're a part of like this Justice League like team, and they're in a relationship with each other, and they're going up against Doom Patrol villains, the Brain and Mala, who are also in a relationship. And it's actually, I've actually heard that their comic series was really good. I haven't checked it out yet, but I plan on eventually. But it started out as an indie comic. I believe it was owned by Jim Lee originally, and I think he still owns it. Hopefully, he still owns it because all about comic creators owning their own stuff. Well, anyway, they go up against the Doom Patrol villains, Brain and Mizir Mala, the gorilla, and the story actually ends on a heartwarming conclusion. There's not much to the story, but the art is incredible, and I give this a 6.5 out of 10. And so our next story features Harley Quinn and Cyborg Man in a story called Splish Splash Special. And che Grayson writes, Marguerite Savage does all the art, and Christy Sawyer does the letters. I'm not usually a fan of Harley Quinn's solo run series, but this is something that takes place in her solo run. And she has a supporting character called Cyborg Man, who I believe is an old federal agent who became a cyborg, and she calls him Mr. Borg. The story actually surprised me with how decent it was, and the art style is a standout. There was one hilarious moment where Harley Quinn sees a kid running around with a knife, much to the horror of his parents. I don't know why I expected Harley Quinn to take the knife away. Well, actually, I do. She needed the knife for one of her schemes to make some make this for Cyborg Man, and instead she trades the knife from the kid and gives him a bazooka, causing even more of a disaster. And that made me laugh out loud. And that was funny. I give this a 6 out of 10. The next story is called Summer Bummer, and it stars Robot Man from the Doom Patrol. It was written by Max Bemis. The art was handled by Greg Smallwood, and it features Troy Pateri's letters. We have Cliff, who's Robot Man, hanging with Mike and his friend, while not really fitting in or having as much fun as the normal humans. Later, Cyborg Red Tornado and the Metalmen swing by in a car and ask Cliff if he wants to do a robot hangout, and he agrees if Mike can come. And in the they have this time, Cliff has a good time with all his robot friends. Mike is kind of left out, being the only human there, kind of like in the beginning. In the end, they do find common ground and something they have in common to do during summer. They go to a comic store to hang out with the crew. Cyborg, Red Tornado, and the Metalmen are there too, hanging out with them. And this story actually ended up being my favorite story in the issue. It actually had me laughing out loud. I think the biggest laughs came from the robot attending the digital reunion of the Beatles concert that only they could see and hear. And they also downloaded an upgrade that sounded like they were getting high, even though Mike couldn't get high because he didn't have a port to download the upgrade. Uh, and I think one of the crown jewel moments were Cliff and Mike arguing over indie comics versus superhero comics, the big major mainstream comics, and it also comes with a lesson at the end, and it has a quote. The quote is "Summer without comics ain't no summer at all," and I really love this story. It was perfect encapsulation of summer. I give it a 10 out of 10. Perfect score. And the final story is actually called Catfish Crisis. It stars Cyborg, Superman, and Cyborg Superman. And I really think they should do more with Cyborg, and that's a story for another time. But the talent here includes Stuart Moore as the writer, Coley Hammer with the art, and Hi-Fi with the colors, and Rob Steen with the lettering. Now, this was a truly funny story. It features Cyborg fighting Cyborg Superman, and then Superman shows up to help Cyborg fight him, and he out of nowhere, a hero from another universe drops in, called Cyborg Superman, and he's from a universe where a crisis fused the heroes in groups of three, and he just happens to be those three. Um, and there was a twist in the story, and then another twist, and it was truly funny. I think you have to read it to truly um, read it yourself to truly appreciate this, as well as pretty much all the stories I mentioned. Um, but yeah, it was really good, and I give this story a 9. And with all that said, averaging them out, the score comes to a 7.2 out of 10, and it is a great summer read, and I recommend it. I recommend it. I had a lot of fun reading this and reviewing it. It was fun. Well, that's all for my first video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to have more up soon. See you next time.